All right, let's just jump right in. If you're working with AI, you are in the middle of a war, and you might not even know you're fighting it. I'm talking about the war for token efficiency. And today, we're going to look at the reigning heavyweight champion, JSON, going up against a brand new contender, TOON, which was built from the ground up for the age of LLMs. And let's get straight to the point, because this isn't just about, elegant code or anything like that. We are talking about real, actual money. One analysis found that by just swapping your data format, an organization could save up to $72,000 a year on GPT-4 costs for one single workflow. So how on earth is that even possible? Well, the answer is surprisingly simple, and it's a problem pretty much everyone has. See, if you're sending structured data to a large language model using the industry standard, you are almost certainly wasting tokens. And in the world of generative AI, every single one of those wasted tokens is just money flying right out of your pocket. So let's talk about the culprit. And it's a format that we all know, we all use it, JSON. But in this new AI era, its design comes with this hidden LLM tax. Yeah, a tax you're paying on every single API call you make. Just look at this. This side-by-side shows the problem perfectly. On the left, you've got your standard JSON, and it's just cluttered with all those curly braces and quotes and colons. Now look to the right. That is the exact same data, but in the TOON format. It's instantly cleaner, way more compact, just by getting rid of all that extra syntax. And we're not talking about a small difference here. For complex, nested data, the very thing JSON is supposed to be great at structuring, the savings can be absolutely astronomical. One benchmark found a staggering 78% token reduction. That's not some minor optimization, people. That is a complete game changer for your costs and for your context window. So where does this tax actually come from? Well, this breakdown makes it crystal clear. Take a look at the syntax overhead and white space rows. JSON spends 90 tokens, 90, on nothing but curly braces, quotes, colons, and spacing. Tongue? It uses 0. For years, this just didn't matter, right? We cared about bandwidth and storage, not a few extra characters. But with LLMs, the game has totally changed. Every character is a processing cost. The waste is literally baked right into the JSON format itself. Okay, so this brings us to the solution, a format that was designed from the ground up to solve this exact problem. Let's take a look at TOON, the token optimizer. So what exactly is TOON? Well, it stands for Token-Oriented Object Notation, and its entire design philosophy is just to communicate structured data to an LLM in the most token-efficient way possible. It gets rid of all that syntactic noise and instead uses a clean, indentation-based structure, kind of like YAML, that's super easy for both humans and models to understand. Now, the benefits here go way beyond just saving money. Because you're using fewer tokens to say the same thing, you can fit significantly more data into the LLM's finite context window. We're talking about a 65% increase in capacity. And what does that mean for you? It means longer conversation histories, more complex prompts, and way less data getting cut off. And here's what that looks like in the real world. Let's say you can fit 100 API responses formatted as JSON into your context window. If you switch to TOON, you can now fit 165 of those exact same responses. For any kind of batch processing or complex reasoning task, that's a massive, massive efficiency gain. And hey, it's not just about the token count. Performance benchmarks actually show that TOON is faster too. Because the format is simpler, it's just quicker to parse and serialize. And this translates into real-world gains, with one test showing an effective throughput increase of over 43%. So you're getting cheaper and faster processing. It's a win-win. But hold on, it's not quite that simple. It's really tempting to see these numbers and just, want to replace JSON everywhere. But you can't. TOON is a specialized tool, not a universal replacement, and it's absolutely crucial to understand where the old guard, JSON, still wins. Which brings us to the big, critical question, should we just throw out all our JSON and switch everything over to TOON? And the answer, believe it or not, is a definitive no. And understanding why is the key to building a really smart architecture. So let's look at the biggest anti-pattern. For flat tabular data, think spreadsheets, TOON is actually less efficient than a simple CSV file. Yeah, the very structure that makes TOON so great for nested data actually adds overhead here. it ends up using up to 25% more tokens than CSV for the exact same information. So for this kind of data, TOON is definitely the wrong tool for the job. And let's be super clear about this. JSON's dominance isn't going anywhere in a lot of key areas. For public APIs, it is the undisputed standard. Browsers support it natively, document databases are built around it, and its huge ecosystem makes it pretty much the only real choice when interoperability is your #1 priority. So all of this leads us to the final actionable takeaway. This isn't about some kind of format war where one has to win and one has to lose. It's about a smart hybrid strategy, about using the right tool for the right job to build the most efficient system you possibly can.
I love this analogy because it just makes the whole concept stick. Think of JSON as your universal city clothing. It works everywhere, everyone understands it, it's comfortable. TGN, on the other hand, is specialized mountaineering gear. You wouldn't wear it to the office, right? But in the demanding, high-altitude environment of an LLM call, it strips away every single unnecessary ounce of weight to maximize your efficiency and save your life. Or, at the very least, save your budget.
And this is what that smart hybrid architecture looks like in practice. You really get the best of both worlds here. Your public-facing API speaks standard JSON for maximum compatibility. But then internally, right before you call the LLM, a gateway service converts that data to JSON so the LLM gets the hyper-efficient format, saving you tokens, saving you money. Then the response is converted back to JSON before it ever goes back to the client. You get interoperability on the outside and pure efficiency on the inside. So we end up right back where we started, but now with a totally new perspective. It all comes down to this one question. For years, we've all just thought of JSON syntax as harmless boilerplate. But in the LLM era, every single character has a cost. So the final takeaway is simple. It's time to seriously ask yourself, how much are your curly braces really costing you?